Oh, how you doing? Didn't see you there. No, too close. Can't do that. So I'm going to do that hella cheesy thing. Oh, I didn't see you there. How are you today? Okay, good. Done. So that has been sorted. I've done the really cheesy intro to this live stream. Diana, welcome. Hang tight because you're going to like this. I know you've been really focused on and keen to learn more about branding for your cause and your mission. And by golly, we're going to help you with that. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, invite sent. She's been tagged. She's been invited. We are waiting on the inimitable Lisa Jane Jones. And I'm really excited to have her because we've been friends for a long time and I've been watching her help women in entrepreneurial online business build empires through branding. That is a mouthful, for God's sakes. So I'm going to keep on rambling like I do until she shows up on the camera, on the screen, ready to go. And I guess I'll take this time to talk a little bit. What is going on? Why can't I have a simple light on my face without it looking all weird? Anyway, for me, I have had a profound insight into my own business, and it's been very important. And what I have realized is that what people call branding, when it's done right, is the most foundational thing you can do to help your business. Whether you're a coach, an expert, a brick and mortar, whatever it is, your branding is central. And the reason for that is that branding, there she is. Okay, let's just see if I can bring her on. And we'll just jump right in. All right, it's adding. She's being added. It's taking forever to add Lisa Jane Jones. And we're adding, oh, for the love of God. On the one hand,
Hey!
There we go.
Hello. Hang on, I need to, oh, no, it's okay. It's cool. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Can you hear me okay, or shall I get my headphones?
Headphones would be better, for sure. I can hear you great, but headphones is always better.
Okay, just 1 second. Just look at my ceiling for a minute.
Okay. So, guys, this is Lisa Jane Jones's ceiling. It's the ceiling of the branding queen. And I think if you can't see clearly from that ceiling why she's so good at what she does, then maybe you're not paying close enough attention.
Hey, I'm back. Okay.
Your phone's so much better.
Yeah, they are much better. I did an interview the other day, and my sound just kept on cutting out and stuff like that, but I think it was because I didn't have the headphones in, so.
Well, we're not going to make that mistake twice.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Well, fucking A, here you are.
My brother from another mother. What?
All right. Well, cool. So I have had, I would call it a serious business epiphany. And even back when you tuned into that webinar thing I did in Coffee with Dan,
oh my God,
5 years ago or whatever that was when we first met, my goal was always, whether I expressed it clearly enough or not, was always to find the most foundational thing I could teach people about that would make everything else in their business easier. Mm-hmm. And it's been an iterative process, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
But what I've come to is that developing an audience and trust with that audience is the most foundational thing you can do.
Yeah, definitely.
And to me, that's what branding is.
Yeah.
So does that match? Do you have anything to add to that? What would you say branding is?
Definitely. It's one of the things with with branding is that I think, especially in the online space, has got to be being authentic, and like you said, building that trust and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think because, especially when we're dealing with, you know, the coaching world and the mentoring world and that kind of thing, it's very social media based. We are
Yeah.
very much you know, we're social media entrepreneurs, and it's very easy to kind of get caught up in the bullshit, really,
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
you know, kind of like, oh, you know, I make 10K a month and all that, and you've got to be doing this, that, and the other,
Yeah.
and people kind of buy into that, and
Yeah.
they start to lose that authenticity and stuff like that. So, and that's where their branding starts to lose the power, because people start to lose the trust, and there isn't that kind of, there isn't that deep connection, that real
Right.
deep personal connection. And I think that's
Right.
really important with what we're all doing really online, is, you know, building that trust and that connection and stuff like that, and being authentic. So yeah.
And so that's really what the brand is, right? Yeah. So I think that I've been talking a bit lately about the shock and awe type of personality on Facebook, and how it may have had its time and now it's kind of declining, you
Yeah.
know. And I think back to, like, I was on this one, a couple of coaches, one who, you know, I was in their world and on their email list and everything, and I saw a switch where they started that, thank God, short-term trend of being really hostile to their audience. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Do you remember
yeah,
that a couple
yeah,
years back?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You're
It
not
was very
making you're
trendy.
not making 50,000 a month, and I'm sick of it. It's all
Yeah.
your own shit. Get off your ass, you punk. You know? Yeah. It's like,
Yes.
so you talked about the authenticity being, I want to say sacred. I don't even like the word authenticity anymore because it's been
No, because it's
overused.
so over fucking used.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's something interesting about that we'll get into in a little bit, hopefully. But the thing that authenticity means is what we do want to create, which is a meaningful connection, a real connection. The way that I've been talking about it lately is, think of your content, the way you show up, as two posts, two pillars. One is your expertise and one is your personality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
don't fuck around with your personality. Don't be disingenuous. Be transparent, but don't be a punk about it, and don't be
No.
false.
No. I mean, I made that mistake when I very first started my business, because my first online kind of like venture was, I was doing like holistic life coaching.
Yeah.
And I had this kind of idea in my head that I couldn't be me. So
Right.
I thought that I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to get clients with my pink hair, my tattoos, my piercings, and my foul mouth. So I was showing up online, and I was kind of like, the content that I was putting out there was all kind of like all these big posh words that I had to look in a thesaurus to, you know, find out what the hell they meant. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't actually use pictures of myself.
Right.
Selfies or anything, because I was just like, well, people are not going to hire me.
Right.
And it was just horrendous.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was the worst experience ever. And it was just like, it was just totally not what I wanted to create at all. It was just like, horrendous. But obviously now I got over that, and it was just like, you know what?
Got over
This
it.
is me, warts and all. Yeah.
So let's use my friend Diana Brand, who is on this live stream, as an arbitrary example. Diana comes to you to understand how to build her brand on social media. What's the first thing you do with her?
Dive into her personality. Her
Okay.
personality.
Sure. Talk about that.
Well, a lot of us, like I said, a lot of us tend to, we make the mistake of hiding who we really are. That's
Yeah.
something that I see a lot. People seem to think that they have to look a certain way, act a certain way,
Yeah.
speak a certain way to get clients. And in the process, they lose themselves, and you know, and it's themselves that is what is going to attract the right people to them.
Right.
You know, like somebody who doesn't like swearing isn't going to be a good match for me, you
Right.
know, or whatever. So if I try and hide that, then it's going to have a knock-on effect. So it's really important that to get into the mind of a brand is to get into the personality of the person, because
Right.
especially when it comes to when we're doing personal branding. So, you know, if branding for products and stuff like that is different, but for coaches and mentors where we're doing personal branding, it's all about self. It's all about who you are first,
Yeah.
and then how you can, what's the word I'm looking for, communicate that onto, you know, to other people. You know,
Right.
this is what I believe, this is what I stand for, this is what I think, this is how I
Yeah.
feel, this is how I show up.
Yeah.
And what I like doing is I like really diving in deep first and getting to know my clients first, you know, on a personal level. And they're like, at first, they're like, well, what's this got to do with my branding? It's like, it's got everything
It
to do with your
is. It
branding.
is your
Yeah,
branding.
it is your
Yeah.
branding. What goes on in here, is
Yeah.
your brand.
Yeah.
That is your brand. So that's the first thing I'd do.
I've been preaching that your brand is what people say, think, and feel about you behind your back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that the reason that we jump in and sometimes try to show up fake is because we don't know the landscape, right? And so you see, our minds are sort of like pattern matching machines. And so what we do is we jump in and we go, oh, Dillweed over here looks successful, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Boy, maybe I should get a man bun and a beard. You know what I'm saying, though? And apparently, I need to be doing yoga poses in front of shit now. Um, it's, but it's because they don't understand that people's decisions to first pay attention to you with their attention, give you their attention, and then to let that evolve into liking you, and then evolve into trusting you, comes from the you side of the two pillars, right? And what happens is we make the decision to work with someone on a purely emotional level, but we have to justify it. It moves up through the gut into the brain, the cranium, and then we have to justify it by seeing your expertise.
Yeah.
Right? In other words, if you just show me how awesome you are, but you never prove that you can build a better widget, and then suddenly you come out and go, oh, by the way, I can build great widgets, I'm going to be skeptical. Whereas if you're showing up going, this is who I am and this is what I do. Who, what, Yeah. So,
but another thing that stops people from showing up who they really are is a fear, that fear of rejection. If they're putting on a facade, and if they're showing a little fake side to them, when people say no, it feels less personal. Whereas when people are being more genuine and it's just like, this is me, warts and all, that rejection is really personal, because it's like, oh, they really don't like me. So it becomes even, so it's that fear of kind of like, well, if I show them who I really am and they say no, then that means they don't like me. And that's a big thing for a lot of people.
I think you're really, really spot on with that. I just had a call 2 weeks ago with a lady who has been in my orbit for months. She has, voted with her attention, with her trust, and then with her credit card on small purchases. And she has a big vision and a big dream, like we all do.
Yeah.
And I was on a call with her and I'm saying, here's how my branding and content strategy works. You've got to show up on videos and you've got to show up on live streams, right? And she's like, I'm not ready for that. I'm like, so what's going on there? She goes, well, I'm just not ready for that. And I probed and I really had to dig. I was like a grave robber.
Yeah.
I'm just digging and digging and digging. And finally she says to me, I did a live stream months ago, one arbitrary person, I would learn later in the call that she's older now. She's in her 60s, but she was apparently very, very beautiful when she was younger. So maybe there's a little bit of ego still attached to that. And so one person made a shitty comment about her having loose skin on her neck, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. She tried, just like you said, she tried to show up authentically like her real self. She got criticized as her real self one time, and now her whole dream dies.
That's all it takes. Yeah. That's all it takes.
So what do you do? How do you help somebody with that piece?
That's really difficult, and a lot of people have said to me when I was sort of like trying to find my way and trying to find all the things that what is my
Yeah.
awesome thing. So many
Yeah.
people said to me that I have this skill of helping people feel confident. I help people feel like the most confident person in the room, but I honestly can't say how I do that. And I know for me personally, I've people used to say I'm very confident. I'm not particularly confident at all. It's just that I've just learned not to give a shit. I've learned that it doesn't matter how you show up or who you are or what you look like. People are either going to love you or they're going to hate you, and it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
whether you are,
Yeah.
the most beautiful person in the world or you have the most amazing personality. There are going to be people that think you're a dick at the end of the day, and you
Yeah.
just got to learn to let it go.
Yeah.
Because you can try and try and try and try and be perfect and have this whole, perfect thing, but
Yeah.
somebody out there is gonna find something
Right.
to dig or
Right.
pick or something, and it's just you just have to learn to just let it go, just let it
Yeah.
go, and realize that those people that are important, those people who need you and need what you have to offer, need to know your
Right.
message, need to hear your message, those are the people that matter. Everybody else can go fuck themselves because
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
important.
So
You're not talking to them, so
so
whatever.
it's a shift, right? It's a shift from focusing on you to focusing
Yeah,
on your work, your mission, your
yeah,
purpose. I,
yeah.
I totally agree. So when we first met, I was still refining what I do very, very much. And what wound up being speaker training started off, as you know, as charisma training, like
Yeah,
how to be
yeah,
dynamic and how to make
yeah,
friends and how to, because that's really, that's something I spent my life working on. And it was so funny because I could see the reflection that people who liked me were giving me, right? They were showing me the value of what I was doing. But if I made an offer and it didn't go like viral, you
yeah,
know, I would run and hide behind a rock.
yeah, yeah. But we've all done that. We've
Yeah.
all done that. But
Yeah.
again, it's something that you kind of the more that kind of shit happens, the more you kind of learn to right. Okay, just let it go. You do just start to learn more just to
Yeah.
let that shit go.
And I think it really is a shift in what you're focusing on.
Yeah, and
You
a
know,
mindset shift as well.
yeah.
Once you get out of your own head and you let go of your own ego, I suppose it's you can just learn to let it go a bit better. Obviously, not all the time. There's still things that are going to piss you off.
Yeah, totally. For me, it has helped to give myself permission to look at everything I do on social media as professional and part of my business.
Yeah,
Part of my business is to be very real with you about who I am.
yeah,
That's given me permission to hang it all out there. Damn the haters,
yes,
yeah.
yeah,
So I like that. So your first thing you do is you want to get to know each person's personality. You want to extract that. Do you
yeah.
find that oftentimes, even though it's their personality, they're not real clear?
Yeah. Oh,
Isn't that
yeah. Yeah.
isn't that strange?
Definitely. There's things, but when I've had those kind of conversations with my friends and stuff about me, they say shit about me that I'm just like, really?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
confident thing. I was just like, really?
Yeah,
But yeah, when it's easier for somebody else to see personality traits and stuff like that in
right,
somebody else than it is
right.
easier to see in yourself,
Yeah,
because we all have our own little hang-ups about stuff. So,
yeah,
but yeah, when I sort of like having these conversations with clients and I'm saying, this, 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 and this, and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And sometimes I have to give them real clear examples, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, I
yeah,
can see it now.
yeah,
But that's a big shift for them as well. But it really helps them to get clearer on who they are, what they want to do,
yeah.
and who they want to serve. And
And so now I know in your case, you go all the way from, this sort of like clarifying the fundamental personality. You go all the way up into colors and logo, don't you?
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
So step two then is to get out of your own way and understand that you've got to put yourself like I think of it as making a conscious choice to put the mission before the ego.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, definitely. And we all have we all have both. We have this we all have kind of like an underlying mission of that we want to serve, we want to help people, we want to, help people transform and to have better lives and have better this and the other. But we also have a little bit of the ego there as well, because at the end of the day, we wouldn't be in business. So we all want
Sure.
to have more money, we want to have more success and stuff like that. So whereas a lot of people won't allow themselves to allow their ego to talk a little bit. So they're like, oh, yeah, I just want, love and light and rainbows and, spread all
Right.
this lovely stuff, which is great. But
Yeah.
they also, sometimes I do have to be a bit harsh with my clients, say, right, well, you also want to make money,
Yeah,
and we need to know how
yeah.
much money you need to make and
Yeah.
what are your goals when it comes to success and money and stuff like that. Because again, that's all part of branding. You've got to have these
Yeah.
goals, and you've got to be creating a business around those goals that is going to actually get you to those goals. Because a lot of the times I talk to clients and they're talking about these goals, but the business that they currently have is nowhere near going to get them to those goals. And
Yeah.
sometimes it can be a
Right.
little bit like oh shit, yeah, that I need
Yeah.
to step things up, or I need to do something a little bit different, or kind of do this or whatever with my brand and my business to get me there. So
I feel like in my case, I'm like in the process right now of committing to a full-on re-identification, a full-on rebrand of myself.
yeah,
Because
it's exciting, isn't it?
it is exciting. It is
Yeah.
exciting. And one of the things that happened was I realized exactly like you're saying that what I was doing, if I look back over the track record of it, I can safely assume it's not going to get me my mission goals, my income goals, my impact goals, my influence goals. It's
Yeah.
not going to get those for me.
Yeah.
Every single donkey who gets on stage and has either the skill or just the stupid unearned confidence to do a presentation suddenly thinks they are now a public speaker and can teach it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And so everybody has a course,
Yeah.
and what people don't understand, this is just specific to my situation, but what people don't understand is just because you can do doesn't mean you can teach.
Yes.
Teaching is a whole different skill set. And so
Really
it
is.
got a little bit like there were two things gnawing at me. One was I'm competing with people who clearly don't know what the hell they're talking about. And what I didn't identify in the beginning was, oh, but they have a good brand. Right? And the other thing was
And good marketing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that don't know shit, but their marketing is on point. It's like,
Yeah.
just teach people that, and you'll be
Yeah, right.
golden. Just teach people how you market, because you're
Yeah.
good at that, but the rest you just know.
obviously got that part down. And the other part for me was it was bugging me that I didn't feel like I was at the most foundational thing I could help people with.
Yeah.
And so when I kind of got clear on those things, and I looked over my own business, and I was like, so I've been focusing internally on really focusing on my brand and my content strategy. I think this is what I need to be helping people with. So let's talk a bit about, the first thing is to pull their personality out. The second thing is to help them get out of their own way so that their ego isn't as invested. They stand
Yeah.
less of a chance of like ducking and covering when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
What's number 3?
Okay, so then you've got to realize, it's about, you need to know like your mission, your purpose, the mission and the purpose of your business. So why are you doing what you're
Yeah.
doing? Like, what is the purpose? What is the reason? What is it that you are hoping to achieve with what it is that you're doing? It's the why. It's the big why. But a lot of people don't really give enough thought to what the purpose is of their business. They
Right.
they create this business. They're like, everybody needs it, and it's like, yeah, but why? What is the purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? What is
Yeah.
your underlying why of why you've got this business? And it's really important to for them to dive into that and really know that, because again, that's a massive part of branding of their
Yeah.
brand, to know what their mission and their purpose is. Because if you don't know why your business exists or what the purpose of it is, then nobody else is going to know. So you're not going to be able to communicate that with other people. So they're like, well, I don't know why your business exists, or why I should even be bothered knowing about it, learning about it, or what you can do for me. So it's really
Right.
important. So knowing the mission and the purpose is a really, really big thing.
That also, if I am on point here, that will allow you, that'll inform the way you create your content.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and also not just the content, but how you create your content, what types of content you create, understanding why you're creating it as well. Because I see a big thing with people is that they're churning out all of this content, but I see so much of it that it's just like, but what's the point? Why did you
Yeah.
write that?
Yeah.
Like, what is the purpose? Because every piece of content should really have a purpose. There should be a reason why you're doing it.
Absolutely.
And, a lot of people are like churning out all this content because they know that content is king. Content is king. Got to
Right.
put it out there. Got to be, whatever. It's just like, yeah, but why? What was the point of you writing that piece of content? And if you
Yeah.
ask people, they're like, because it's just an idea that came into my head. So
Right.
but it doesn't have a purpose,
Be-
So again, yeah,
Yeah.
it's all to do with that. Yeah.
So, why did you write that piece of content? Because somewhere somebody told me content was king.
Yeah, exactly. But I fell into that trap as well. I can remember,
Sure.
I was churning out so much content at one stage. I was just writing reams and reams and reams. And it was just like most of it, I would probably say 90% of it was just for the sake of writing, just for the
Yeah.
sake of putting content out there. There was no actual real purpose where I thought, right, this is going to be because of this, or I'm writing this because it leads onto this, or anything like
Yeah.
that, or this really defines my brand or my the offer that I've got out there, or anything
Right.
like that. It was just
Yeah.
I was just spitting
Yeah.
all this shit out, basically.
I think it's important to understand that if content is king, which it is for those listening, then strategy is the throne and the crown and the kingdom. Like
Definitely,
you
definitely.
really got to understand that. That was today's live stream. For me was, your content strategy sucks. And the reason is because most of you don't have a strategy. You think that
Yeah.
creating a lot of content is a strategy, but go back to personality and skill, personality and skill, personality and skill. You've got to be talking about those things all the time.
Yeah.
So,
and how you create your content has got to be on brand as well.
yeah.
So like a big thing about my brand is, my whole hashtag is fuck bland, make a stand, monetize
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And, a big thing about my brand is being very bold and very in your face and, really owning your kind of like confidence. So I make sure that the content that I am creating kind of encompasses that. There's a lot of, it's very vibrant, my content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was putting vanilla content out there that was
Yeah.
kind of like a bit boring and a bit dull, then that's not going to be on brand.
Yeah.
So somebody that has a brand that is, say, very spiritual, they're very kind of like into the new age spirituality, and then they're talking about something that is completely opposite.
Yeah.
Again, it's off brand. So
Yeah.
the content has to be on brand as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are like the inside pieces, right? Do we move from there to the strategy stuff, or is there more that you feel that people need to get on the internal game first?
Yeah, another thing that people tend to not realize is things like they need to know exactly who their target market is. And this is a huge bugbear for a lot of people because they're like, oh, well, I work with female coaches. It's like, right, okay, but what type of female coaches?
Yeah.
Who are they? What do they do? What are their likes? And you really have to get to know your target market on a real personal level.
Yeah.
It's not just kind of like female coaches. It's like, well, who are they?
Yeah.
What are their age? What do they do? And, it's the whole, I can remember when I first started out, there was like, it was this, what was it called? Oh, the ideal client avatar. I hated that, but where you had to write, all this kind of stuff about, how
I
many
remember.
kids they had, what color
Yeah.
knickers they wore and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
just like, but you do have to get really kind of like deep and personal with the type of target market that you want
Yeah.
to serve. It's about who you want to serve and who you can best serve. And
Yeah.
you've got to really know them well, because as soon as you know your target market really well, then you can create the content on brand that talks directly to them.
Yeah. Do you focus at all on any strategies to help your clients speak their client's language?
Not really. I don't really help with the whole kind of like content creation type stuff, really. But it's more of once I help them get clear on who their target market is and allow them to kind of like create this kind of like, I don't like the word avatar, but a profile of their target market.
Yeah.
It just makes it, it just makes it easier for them to create content. So, you know, if they know that their target market, for instance, loves watching Game of Thrones, they can almost create a piece of content around Game of Thrones, and it's, you know, so it will talk directly to them type thing, and they can kind of like match it up. So it's just little things like that. It might not seem much, but it can be really, really powerful when you can kind of like, the idea with content is that when somebody reads it, it's as if you're talking directly to them.
Correct.
So it's like you've just crawled into their head and they're like reading it going, oh my God, she's talking, you know, directly to me, you know, type of thing. And you can't do that if you don't know who your target market is.
Agreed. I've also found, this is more for the audience than for you, if you are prolific enough, like if your content is on point in terms of how much of it you're creating, I have found that it becomes less important to sort of get that whole copywriter's holy grail thing of learning how to say the exact sentences that are inside of their head, right? Because when you show them enough that you have the expertise and the personality that they like, what happens is you're not selling anymore. And that strategy is for selling. Right. What you are doing when you make those offers now is you're just telling a friend that you've got this thing that is a perfect fit for their itch, problem, solution, whatever.
And that's why being yourself and allowing your personality to come out online is so important, because then it does take that whole kind of like you said, the copywriter strategy where it's like, oh, you've got to have this and this and this and this. You know, that all goes out the way because it is, like you just said, it's just like you're talking to a friend. And,
absolutely.
you know, those people that are in your world and that follow you love your personality anyway. They're naturally attracted to your personality.
Exactly.
So,
So so now you've taken Diana, our test case, through all of that stuff. What do you have her do? What is her deliverables, her creatables?
What, as in, what do you mean by deliverables? Stuff that design stuff?
So, I guess once you get through the mindset-ish internal pieces with her and you know her personality and everything, how do you help her to grow her brand?
Okay, so we would go over all of her offers, first of all, and see to make sure that each of the offers that she has currently is on brand to what we have developed together. So are they meeting the needs of that target market that she wants? Are they still in alignment with her and her personality, how she has grown? Because we are constantly growing, you know, human beings, we are constantly evolving, and our business constantly evolves, so our brand constantly evolves. So an offer that you might have, you know, put out a year ago might not be in alignment anymore. So it's about checking that those offers and the services that they provide are on brand and they match the needs, the wants of the ideal clients, target market, and that she still wants to do them. She still wants to offer them, because a lot of the time it's like, we create these kind of like coaching programs and stuff like that, but we kind of like just doesn't feel right anymore. So we go over that kind of stuff. And kind of just if things need tweaking, then we obviously tweak those. If they need to just be scrapped, they scrapped. And, you know, I'll help them to kind of like develop something new that's actually on brand to their new brand.
Oh, cool. One of the things, I'll tell you what I like the most about what you just said is, prior to the advent of social media, you could never, ever establish a brand in one thing and just evolve as you saw fit, right? And I just think that is so powerful, so special, and frankly, so kind of misunderstood and overlooked. If you establish who you are and people like you and you grow an audience of those people, we have a unique opportunity, like in the history of all commerce, dating back as far as it goes, now because of social media, we can evolve and our audience will follow us.
Yeah.
And I just think I love what you said about like, hey, maybe an offer you had a year ago doesn't feel right anymore. Well, if you've paid attention to positioning yourself with your brand, you can, just like I'm doing, you can change
Yeah.
offers. And I've been polling my audience for 2 weeks or so. And my question is it confusing to you, or does it make sense to you that I started off as a speaker training coach and now I'm talking about branding? Most
Yeah.
people are like, oh
Yeah.
no, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I
Definitely.
love that.
But see, this time last year, I wasn't doing just branding. I was doing the business. I was more of a business mentor, doing all sorts of things. But then I kind of like, again, as I started to grow and started to evolve, I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. It doesn't feel in alignment to me.
Yeah.
So I took a break and I was like, right, what parts of what I do I love? And it was
Yeah.
the branding,
Yeah.
the design, getting all arty-farty and creative and all that kind of stuff, and doing web design. So it was like, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And everybody, again, said exactly the same thing. It was just felt like a natural progression to them.
Yeah.
As my followers and stuff, that's what I was doing. So
I love that. I mean, I feel so fortunate that I don't feel like I have to just completely rebuild from scratch.
yeah.
In fact, and here's a testament to the power of showing up authentically and sort of on brand. My recent launch, which was all organic, it was a $50,000 launch, and it was just 10 days
Nice.
worth of Facebook posts.
Yeah.
And doing live streams and talking about it. And
That's the power of personal
that's
branding.
the power of personal
because
branding.
you are your brand. You are your brand, and you've encompassed that so well right from day dot. So, even if you were to put out a completely random offer, I don't know, selling, weight loss pills or something, your followers you'd probably have just as good launch, because people have bought into it's you, isn't it? It doesn't matter what it is that you're putting out there, as long as it feels like it's authentic.
Yeah.
And it's coming from you, then it's you that people are following, not kind of like
Totally.
the offers as such. So yeah.
Totally. So tell us what offers do you currently have out there that could help anyone who's watching this?
Well, I do just a normal branding and web design package. So obviously that has, I do all of the branding kind of stuff that we've discussed already. And I do all the creative side to it as well. So, there's like logos and all of the different elements for their websites, and also design their websites as well. So brand new websites as well, because I love doing the websites.
Cool.
But that's pretty much it. I just have one like standard offer where I do,
nice.
well, they can either choose just the branding or branding and web design. So depending on where they are and what they need. But that's it. Just keeping it simple these days. Just keeping it simple.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I guess for all of you guys out there, pay heed, pay attention, listen up.
Listen up.
Yeah. I want to thank you so much, Lisa Jane. It's so great to finally actually talk to you after only 5 short years.
Yeah.
Whatever it's been.
Yes, always a pleasure, my darling. Always a pleasure.
And do you want to tell people where they can find you? Maybe put a link in pin a link to the
Can
the
do,
top
but
of
my
this.
website's really easy. It's lisajane.biz.
Oh, there you
Nice
go.
and easy.
Yeah.
Nice
So
and easy.
lisajane.biz.
Yep, that's me.
Cool.
That's me, bitches.
All right. Thank you again so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Manny. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will speak to you very soon.
Perfect.
You take care now.
Bye.
Bye.